Hey everyone, this is going to be my first video in what hopefully will become a longer series of translation differences in Genshin Impact. First off, a disclaimer. I'm a first generation born Taiwanese American with only formal schooling up to the first grade. Most of my language learning is actually taught by my mom, or me taking some Mandarin language and literature courses in college to pull up my GPA. Thanks, Mom. I personally do not represent the thought processes of everyone like me, nor am I always going to be correct. I'll also make sure I goof some culture stuff, yeah. But I think it'll be fun to see the differences in translations. So let's go ahead and start. So the first thing I noticed when I was reading over the details page is that the funeral parlor is called Wang Sheng. Wang Sheng, that's not really like a special translation or anything. It just means to move on from life. It's very uncommon for Mandarin speakers to say when someone passes away, 他死了, they're dead. We often use 往生, means they've moved on for this life. And another big deal that I noticed was that Hu Tao is the 77th generation of the owner. You know who else is number 77? Chi Chi. Chi Chi is actually 77. Why is that important? Because most of our funeral rites, we do something called 坐期, means to do the seven, which is actually just seven rituals over 7 days, which takes 49 days to complete. So that's why 7 7, right? Seventh generation, Chi Chi. And we talk about all this through the funeral rites era, funeral rites that we tend to do, and actually goes back into like the Sui Tang and Song era, where people have started this ritual. So I said there's seven rituals, each done on the seventh day. So the first one is called Touqi, Ichi, like the first one. It's usually a ritual with some sort of music. The second seven is some sort of preparation of food with the paper money that is burned to send off for the deceased. And the third one, oftentimes people go to a three-way intersection and call for the deceased's name, or they'll send some incense to lead them back to home. This is so that their soul or spirit doesn't get lost, so they know where to go to move on to the next life. The fourth seven is a repeat of the second seventh. And the fifth seven is a more formal ritual where you welcome others in, and then people say goodbye, bring offerings, there's a meal for everyone. Sometimes the daughters who have married into the family will also take food and offerings back home to their place so that they can also make offerings. This is to make sure that the deceased has taken care of all their business here before moving on and they don't, harbor any ill will or, do any hauntings. And then we do another ritual on the sixth seven, which is similar to the second and fourth, where you do offering of paper and food and more money. And the last one is when people can finally take off their mourning clothes. Oh, I missed that. So mourning clothes, when people are in mourning, they'll use like either burlap or black. During this time period, that's generally what you stick with. You're not supposed to wear anything bright or colorful to show that you're in mourning. And after that's done, you can actually, change into happier clothes to, signify that the ritual is complete. The next thing I noticed was the translation for xianren. They use the word adepti, which I looked up, which, according to the dictionary, means that those who have attained knowledge through the esoteric secrets of alchemy or something of that sort. I think this is the best that they could do, maybe? I don't know. So when you say someone is a xianren in Mandarin, they are actually no longer human. That's the implication. It is actually an evolution of the word, it's a person who would go to the mountains to then train and then basically move on into another plane of existence, so to speak. It was I think, a Taoist belief. So that's why the word xian is combined with person and mountain. Person goes to the mountain and poof, they're now a xian. There's a couple of different translations that I've seen. The most common one you'll probably see is in Jackie Chan's Drunken Fist, the Eight Immortals, 最八仙, the whole set of moves he goes through, that is the Drunken Eight Immortals. Those are also all Shenren. So when I looked at the definition for adepti, it did not imply that the person who attained knowledge became immortal. So I don't really know if there's a better word for it, but I just want to point that out. this whole process of shouxian is pretty popular. You may have seen this game on Steam called Amazing Cultivation Simulator. In Chinese, it's 不可思议的修仙游戏. It's literally an amazing cultivation to become a xian game. Other popular C dramas involve a lot of these concepts, such as Legend of Zoo Warriors, Noble Aspirations, The Untamed, and DZS. They all incorporate a lot of these cultivation concepts. This is not to be confused with wuxia dramas. Wuxia dramas are, I guess, for the lack of a better term, like a lower magic setting, quote unquote. For shouxian or xianxia dramas, they tend to be more magic oriented. So like shooting beams of energy, flying on swords, magic monsters, things like that. A couple other things that we use the word xian for in Mandarin. I mentioned earlier, wang sheng is a way to say that someone has passed away. We also would also say someone has xian xu or xian shi de. That means they've also have passed on. There's also a really cool plant called the Immortal's Palm, xian ren zhang. Xian ren zhang. Just kidding. It's just cactus. I don't know why we have Shinrin-san means cactus, but if a Shinrin says, "Hey, you want a high five?" Probably not. So I skipped over a couple of stories because I didn't notice anything super standing out or anything I wanted to talk about. So in the third part of story three, they talk about Yan Wang Dijun. The English translation is actually pretty good. Rex Lapis, right? King of Stone, works great. The story here, we talk about the Yue Qi Xing. Uh, I'm surprised they didn't use the actual literal definition of Qi Xing, which means the seven stars. Well, what exactly are the seven stars? I'll tell you right now. It's definitely got to mean the Big Dipper. Qi Xing appears in a lot of pop culture wuxia stuff, most notably Legend of Condor Heroes from Louis Cha. It also makes appearance in the Return of Condor Heroes. If you're interested, I'd recommend reading this series. It's kind of the equivalent of Lord of the Rings for wuxia drama or wuxia novels in terms of wuxia literature. Louis Cha did a really great job with these stories. There's also C dramas, so if you want to watch for the Legend of Condor Heroes, there's I think the 2003 version with Li Yapeng and Zhou Xun. They remake these like every decade or something, so there's like five versions of every single one. I think the 2008 version with Return of Condor Heroes is one I'd recommend, even though it has Crystal Lu and I really don't like her. At least her character is supposed to be emotionless, so you can live through that. And this is the only version that gets a very specific story point correct. I don't want to spoil it, but anyways, definitely recommend that one. I haven't seen a really good version of Heaven Sword and Dragon Saber yet, but I think the most recent one, I think I want to say 2019, was supposed to be pretty good. So a friend recommended that to me. I haven't got around to it yet. Anyways, let's roll it back to the seven stars and why it's important. So in wuxia literature, students or members or disciples of the same school slash sect slash clan, when they fight in unison, they'll sometimes fight in formations. The seven star formation is one of the most popular and well known ones in the Condor Heroes. The number seven also runs through this trilogy. There's the seven disciples of Quanzhen, Quanzhen Xizhi, the seven freaks of Jiangnan, Jiangnan Qi Guai, and then in the third book of Heaven Sword and Dragon Saber, you have the seven disciples of Wudang, Wudang Qi Xia, right? So this is again, giant numerology, continual running through things. In this formation, though, there are specific positions held by specific people because of how powerful they are. In the books, the most powerful person in the seven star formation takes Tianquan position. In the Legend of Condor Heroes, when the seven disciples of Quanzhen decide to use it, it was the strongest student, not the first, not like the most senior one, but the strongest one, Chou Chuji. In Genshin, Tianquan Xing is Ningguang. So I don't understand why she's a 4 star. I think she got robbed of 5 star status. Why is it the strongest position? I think it's because it's the connection of like the handle to the dipper part of the star formation. The other seven star that we know that's a playable character is Keqing. Keqing is Yu Heng Xing. I didn't find any source material in the Legend of Condor Heroes for why there was this any particular reason for this one, but as we can see, she's there, and there's probably a couple more. Some spoilers ahead, so if you haven't done all the story quests, small warning. You meet Tian Shu Xing later on. His Chinese name, you call him Tian Shu, but the Shu in his actual name, where you call him to, is like Shu Shu, like uncle, so Uncle Tian. But in this one, Tian Shu was like Shu was like control, I guess. But after you do the quest, you get a recipe called Tian Shu Rou. Tian Shu is also an acupuncture point. It's a 穴道. It's an acupuncture point near where your abdomen is. So that's, I guess, why the picture in the game looks like abs. Um, Lastly, I want to bring in Beidou. Beidou is important because in the seven star formation, the Qi Xing Zhen, the full name is Tiangang Beidou Zhen, or Tiangang Beidou Qi Xing Zhen. So it's literally like the whole North Star and then like the Big Dipper. The reason why I think this is going to be important is in the books, in the Wuxia books and Legend of Condor Heroes, to break the formation, you have to stand in the Beidou star position. You have to stand in the North Star position to break the defense of this formation. So, big brain, Beidou is somehow going to probably either betray or is actually the leader of the leader of Seven Stars. I don't know which one it is, but I think we're going to see something related to that in the future. If you scroll down to the end, you're going to see a quote in English: "Those who renege on their words shall suffer the wrath of rock." I mean, it sounds uh, scary, but I think it sounds better in Mandarin. I'll tell you why in a second. I'll read it for you once, and then I'll point it out. 契约继承，食言者当受食言之罚. So you're going to hear I said yen twice, 食言 and 食言. The first one, 食言者, is those who eat their words, and the second part, 食言之罚, is to eat the punishment of stone. So that's actually a pun right there. There's actually a pretty common 成语, common phrase, a set phrase in Mandarin that we say called 食言而肥, means to get fat by eating your own words. So if someone says that person 食言而肥, or someone says 你当心食言而肥, be wary of 食言而肥, means you're lying too much. You're going to be a habitual liar, and you're going to get fat from eating your words. This pun is completely lost in English translation. The Zhongli story also then carries on this pun to the salt god. Give you one guess of what salt is in Mandarin. Is also yen. It's most commonly heard as yen ba. So yen is also a pun here. So we got shi yan, which is eating words. Shi yan, eat the wrath of rock, and yen shen, which is another pun. And then there's even more, right? I came up with a little joke. Sometimes they call him Yan Wang Ye in Mandarin, like the god of Geo, but it's also the same pronunciation as Yan Wang Ye, king of the underworld, because he's coming for your wallets. R.A.P. And the last one pun that I saw it was really funny when he was first released was they called him Yan Shen. This Yan is the face, like Yan Mian. He's very pretty. He's the pretty god because he was released with I guess he was released to people when the expectations were not really met. Would be the best way to say that. But yeah, so they always joked, 眼神就是眼神嘛, pretty god's pretty god. I think the last thing I want to talk about in the story part is the gnosis, or however that's pronounced. I do have a big complaint about this. I looked up this word. It is the knowledge of spiritual mysteries. Um, the Mandarin word is 神之心. It's the heart of the god, right? So I'm just gonna take a moment of silence here because if you've gotten to the Zhongli story, you have seen what happened to Venti with his 神之心, and just kind of had that ripped out of him. I think Zhongli at least took his out willingly, but poor Venti, man, dude, like that's just not cool. For the voice lines, I thought most of them were really well translated. There's this one thing that really stood out to me though, is regarding Xiao. In the English version, it says, "Take these painkillers to Xiao," but they're not painkillers. Uh, they're The Mandarin is 连理正心散. It's some sort of medicine to help him calm down. 正心散 is something to like to steady the heart, right? So it's not painkillers per se. It's just something that you take to like, I don't know, just like make him more relaxed, I guess. I mean, I'd imagine it's just some sort of powder that you drink, and then it would just make him relax a little bit better. But it's definitely not painkillers. I thought painkillers was not the best way to do it, or the best translation, but I also don't know what the English thing would be. And I think that's all I have to say about Zhongli's thing for now. I don't know if you guys enjoyed this, if you didn't, or if there's something that I can go over that you guys would like to see more. Leave me a message, comment, whatever. For most of the characters I have leveled up, I can actually go through them. I think it would be better if I did it with the characters that I have. Digging out some of this text is a bit of a difficulty for me because you have to find them online somewhere. I know Honey Impact has most of the English ones, but it's the Mandarin ones that I need help with. So if you guys know where I can find it, let me know, and then I can start going over everyone else's. If you have a favorite character you want me to go over, we can do that too. All right, see you guys next time.